Today, to start the discussion off, we're going to be describing this particular engineering wonder. It's a beautiful ship. Um, don't know if you ever read the book or uh, watched a movie, but Virgil was the name of the ship. In the movie the core, that was designed to go to the core of the Earth to restart its core. It had stopped rotating. Well, this ship is my ship that I designed to go to the core. It has no other purpose. It's incredibly cheap. Everything is best bang for your buck. It is as cheap as possible, so I can mail it back and forth. Um, but that brings us to our discussion. I know a lot of people tuning in later or in the not too distant future probably won't rewind and watch the beginning intro of this. But anyone who tunes into it after it's no longer live, this ship right here is not the subject matter, but it is kind of the conversation starter. My thoughts, while I'm still by myself, is we have in the lore, excuse me, I'm a little congested, these guardians that are no longer here, that left ancient sites that seem to be devoid of any technology, really, except for a couple little neat lights. But we're talking about a race that once ruled the entire galaxy. Now, in order to rule the entire galaxy, you've got to have a method of rapid transit to move troops for reinforcement. Now, that being said, that's assuming that there was another race at the time of the Guardians. Was there? I don't know. Does lore say that there was? I don't know, does it? But if there was, if they were able to actually conquer the known galaxy, they had to have been able to rapidly transport their troops between these points. There's no other way to do it. And since we have conquered a pie piece, being right here, let me turn my bookmarks on so I can get a better idea. Yeah, there it is. Since we have conquered this area right here, forgive the lag, it is from the route plotter. We have worn this area of space out. Now, with all the Guardian technology that we had, why have we not discovered how we figured out how they jumped farther? We have Guardian frame shift drive boosters, but why have we not discovered how they mass transited? For example, why have we not discovered wormholes? And I'm going to use wormholes because these are naturally occurring. If they do exist, they theoretically exist. Theoretically, they would have to exist. I mean, even Star Trek had them. Not saying this is Star Trek, but Star Trek had them to take us from said Alpha Quadrant to Delta Quadrant. Those would be naturally occurring if we found them. Or Bravo Quadrant. Or Charlie Quadrant. But since we use Greek letters, it would be Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and Delta. We haven't discovered any wormholes in this game. I understand that it's a simulation and it's as real as possible, meaning when we found um, the where is that? Okay, it's on. Where's Canis Majoris over here? I've been there. Anyway, when we discovered Canis Majoris, I forget what the letters are for it, in real life, they put it in the game, which is cool. That's really cool. And they put it in there really quickly and modified probably an existing system to do so. And that's cool that they're willing to alter this known galaxy that we fly around in for a video game to the discoveries that we have made. But even if they didn't want to do that, look at these galaxies. I mean, these nebula over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nebula. There are 6 nebula over here. Why? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 nebulas over here. Why around these areas would the Guardians not have? I mean, because look, there's 8 here, and if you come right over here, I'm an explorer on a different account. If you come right over here, look at this. There's so many nebula that they won't even render, okay? This little area here are cram-packed full of nebula. If they were going to make a mass transit, and I understand that the first thing that's going to pop up is people are going to wonder, well, that destroys exploration. And my answer to that is, no, it's not. Explorers are still going to explore, regardless of whether there's a steam jump. Explorers are going to explore. They already added, and we know they added, because in real life there is no imaginary, almost perfectly straight line of neutron stars to Sag A. But we know there is one here. And also, there is an unprecedented amount of neutrons between Sag A and Colonia that do not exist elsewhere. So we know they've added those, and explorers still take those, and people who want to go to Colonia still take those. But with so many engineers being added to the Colonia area, and FDev wanting us to use those engineers, why then can't we, for the layman player, not myself, because I'm about to take this trip. I just finished route plotting. I heard it finish. Why then, for the average player, do we not find, quote unquote, find some type of Guardian technology? Mass Effect even used it. It was a mass driver. A mass driver from, say, here, and if not to Colonia, somewhere over in this massive conflux of galaxies. I keep calling them galaxies. Nebula. Look at all these nebula. Or if there's this many nebula in one place like there is on the opposite side, why then should we not be able to find a wormhole between them? Because there's obviously disturbances in space-time around all of these grips of nebula. Now that's my opinion. Not saying that it will ever happen, but we could add this to the game and stay within the confines of known lore. And it wouldn't damage the game at all. It would make it easier for those who don't want to do that trip. Would it kill the new player experience? No, not at all. Would it add to the new player experience? Being's how you find a lot of ships that are exploration based. You would find new players that would venture out to this wormhole or mass driver, and I'm only using those because those are already copyrighted terms. Obviously we would have to change the name of it for the game. However, what would a new player do? I tell you what a new player would do. They would hear about this, like the free anaconda, and they would venture out in a hauler or a Cobra or a Diamondback Explorer, and they would jump to the core immediately. Why? Because that's cool. And then they would travel back once they realized there was population in other areas. I mean, for goodness sake, you can even do it down in the Witch Head or down in Bernard's Loop, because Bernard's Loop looks like the mouth of a wormhole. I mean, you know, you could even do it down there. That's a possibility. I mean, because you need. Last time I checked, which has been a while, but last time I checked, you needed a 50 light year jump range to plot a route down to Bernard's Loop. I don't know if that's changed, if they've added a couple unlocked systems in there, but you needed 50 light year jump range, which would mean they would have to be engineered if you put it in Bernard's Loop. However, if, say, they were to put it out in between North American Nebula and Elephant Nebula,
frameshift drive charging,
and drop it to the northwest of Colonia amongst that grip of nebula, it would still promote travel. And since we do have that abandoned space station that we all worked our butts off for in the core, it would also make sense to find one of these mass drivers somewhere near the core, because we can't just automatically assume. I mean, making a mass transit device excuse me, would be something ideal for finding a naturally occurring, say, wormhole, as opposed to finding a Guardian device. Guardian device would move between populated areas. It just would, because that would be for troop movement. You know, that would make sense. That would be how they conquered the known galaxy and absolutely abolished everything. Would be the ability to move an entire fleet almost in the blink of an eye. And I say almost in the blink of an eye. Well, that'd be how they decided to do it. But if it were naturally occurring, there are groups of these everywhere. I mean, I don't want to say allow us to enter black holes and come out somewhere, because that wouldn't really disturb everything we know about black holes, because we have seen stars get destroyed by black holes. And if anyone else has seen that footage, it doesn't really absorb it. It doesn't really suck it in. It actually stays outside of the, what's the term? Event horizon. And never actually enters the core of it. Kind of like our exclusion zones. But we obviously don't want to, you know, promote
frameshift drive charging,
fiction in the game. Okay, I mean, narrative, okay, fiction, no. I'm eating a donut. To the viewer just tuning in, we are having an open discussion
Frameshift drive
on
charging.
some type of massive rapid transport between an area near us to possibly an area near Colonia or near the core of the galaxy.
3, 2,
And how you can make that work within the confines of the lore, or artificially make it work by finding something that's previously undiscovered. Feel free, if you are able, to write in the live chat to offer your opinion, and I'll read it. We'll discuss it. If not, just kind of sit back and enjoy the trip, because we're having this trip en route to Colonia. Why? Because I need to pin an engineering tab, a blueprint. But yeah, I'll definitely be in the bubble this weekend, man.
You gonna be in the bubble this weekend?
Absolutely, dude. When I go out to Colonia, I don't stay for long, man. I'll buy a Sidewinder and I'll fight like a
Good stuff.
Wolverine, man, until somebody kills me.
complete.
But Bluebeard, while you're here,
Good trick.
yeah. What are your opinions? Let me ask. What are your opinions of possibly finding? And I say finding because it would be the best for the lore. I know some people don't give a shit about the lore, but I do.
Just to confirm our date.
Yeah, I'll be back this weekend. What would you say to finding, say, a wormhole in this large group of nebula over here that would take a player to this huge group of nebula over here? What would you think of that?
Frameshift drive charging.
Give him time to type.
4, 3, 2, 1.
ID think UDBA.
Oops.
Oops.
Would it be game breaking?
Fuel scooping.
Would it destroy the game as we know it?
I think you'd be a madman to think they'd be wormholes if they can't even get a ship kit right.
Well, to that, to that I would add, it's just not the ability for FDev to write code. This is the possibility of things that we believe to actually be existent in nature, we just haven't found yet, to be put into the game for lore enrichment. For example, if there were a wormhole that carries you between groups of nebula to groups of nebula, even new players in a Cobra or a Hauler would head out there and try to
So
see
we are
them.
being literal or sci-fi?
Both. Being literal, I mean, even Star Trek had wormholes, stable wormholes. Forgive me, I got a congestion. But they even incorporated rapid transit, and we already have the Guardians in the game, and they obviously conquered it somehow.
Frameshift drive charging.
You're either typing something really long or you're thinking.
Fuel scooping.
What, babe? You want to add to the conversation?
Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging.
Somehow put a gate on it, and you had to have you had to like go to a guardian site and get a guardian wormhole key or something to be able to use it.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Guardian site.
Well, I understand that. The Guardian gear
TFW,
alone
I
is
do not
incentive.
think that wormholes would break the game. They are theorized after all.
That was my take on it. Yeah. TFW, are you near your system where you can join a chat so we can actually have an open discussion on this, or are you at work and you have me on a separate tab? Works fine. I'm not going to criticize you. Just trying to get an active discussion
I am
between.
preparing for a meeting.
Fuel scooping.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Okay.
Frameshift drive charging.
I think that wormholes would be a colorful addition. One, it would shorten travel, yes. But two, it would allow those who are not explorers
2,
to get around. Those of us who actually are explorers would still take the scenic route.
My comment seems to have been too long.
Where? Where's your comment? That was too long. It says they're theorized after all.
fuel scooping.
Oh, who's online? Button's online. Blake's online. Dog's online. Kiddo's online.
I agree.
Fuel scooping complete.
Allow people to travel but do not make them too common.
Right. I mean, that's why I picked.
Basically, I said our perceptions are based on sci-fi.
Correct. Well, our current knowledge of the galaxy is basically sci-fi. We just make up whatever makes the most sense and then roll with it. For example, I was thinking
And I am very little fact.
if we would find one, say over here, it's still 2,500 from the bubble,
Yeah, pretty much.
and then find another one, say in this large group of nebula over here, it's still 1,000 light years away from Colonia. You know, it would make sense.
Frameshift drive charging.
You would still have to travel some distance to get there. It wouldn't be like right in the middle of the bubble. You know, I'm not saying we build a Raxla gate in Seoul by any means or anything like that. No, I'm just saying if the guardians of this game were able to conquer the known galaxy, they had to have been
Personally,
able
I
to
think
move an
jump
entire
gates would
fleet
be
at a
better
moment's
over
notice.
wormholes.
Well, that's what I was talking about, the Guardians. Cersei, I was also considering the idea of, I'm going to call them mass drivers, not because I think they should be called mass drivers, but because another game's already done that. And it's not beyond the realm of belief of mass drivers, which would be like Guardian technology in space that we found. And even in the other games, it united multiple races at the discovery of said technology. You know, it made
Frameshift
For example, the
drive charging.
Guardians. That I
Compared to the
keep saying
neutron
this.
superhighway?
I already have discussed the neutron superhighway because we already know the unnatural number of neutrons inserted between the points had to have been done artificially by the game developers to make it easier. We know this. Now that being said, ultimately adding, that would be if you wanted naturally occurring, say like a wormhole, if you were to find a wormhole. We know they already put an unnatural number of neutrons along a path to carry you there. So if they'll do that, I don't see why they won't or couldn't. I mean, wormhole it, you know what I mean? That would, you would have to add a separate animation for the jump.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift.
But you
Having
could easily
multiple
throw
jump
it off to
gates
the
linking
side.
the Colonia connection highway would be neat. Supernova creates wormhole.
I mean, we could do it. I mean, they could see having multiple jump gates linking Colonia Connection Highway would be neat. I agree with that. Yeah, that would definitely be ideal. And Supernova creates a wormhole. If we were to, I don't know, observe a supernova, and they could insert that into the galaxy like they did Canis Majoris, that would also work. You know, either way, a couple large jump gates. I mean, because not everyone that plays this game is an explorer. Not everyone wants to take this, what I'm about to do, this 5-hour trip. Okay, I'm going to pin a blueprint. So ultimately, not everyone wants to take this trip, and I have several friends that canceled the trip midway and just commit suicide. And they're like, nah, screw this, I'm not doing it. And it cheapens the game for them because, one, that's exactly what they're doing. Okay, they are rapidly transferring themselves from one point to another, and I'm going to show that when I get there, when I create a badass little sidewinder and I go out and I start trying to kill everything until I am unable to get away. I'm obviously not going to suicide, that's against my religion, but I may pick on some guys that won't let me get away and simply not buy the sidewinder back, which would put me back in Acellus Primus. That essentially, to me, is lore breaking. Okay? It's just lore breaking. What lore can you write that allows a player to say, screw it, I don't want this ship anymore, and automatically be teleported to square one?
Frameshift drive charging.
It makes no sense. A wormhole would make more sense. A mass driver
It is
would
not
make more
suicide,
sense.
it is jumping into an escape pod.
You say that. However, you are instantly transported. So, you're telling me that if you suicide at Saj, these little drones automatically know where you are at Saj and teleport you to Erebate.
Telepresence.
Telepresence is for your fighters. You are physically present in your ship. We know this. Because we lose fighters that way. Now, why we would have a crew on a ship that didn't have
We are all clones.
escape pods for our crew, I don't know. Clones was an idea, and I do believe still is an idea in EVE. They call them capsuleers. Infinite clones ready to transfer consciousness, but that would be something they would have to write in lore if they decided to
You
try to
can
tackle it
always
that
make
way.
up your own personal lore to cut corners. Emoji wink.
Yeah, but that's not what we're going for here. You can always make up your own lore. That is correct. But we're talking about enriching the game by adding a possible shortcut. We're not talking about just adding an easy mode, you know. We're not just trying to do it that way. We're trying to discuss colorful opportunities to insert what many would believe to be a much needed addition to the game, aka some type of, I'm not going to say fast travel, because fast travel is like, we're talking Skyrim. You can just, hey, I've been there, pop there. That would be if we were telepresenced in our ship. We would have a centralized consciousness somewhere that could easily, you know, jump from place to place through a hologram. I mean, that's the easy way out. No, we're talking about a physical transportation of a ship from point A to point B. Which would only work if you were physically in your ship, because I mean, telepresence I don't think would work through a wormhole. I just don't think it would.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The game itself has many cut corners.
It does, and I'm not promoting that we continue to do that. I mean, for the most part, cut corners and
Look
corner
at
cutting.
cargo loading and offloading, for example.
Well, yeah, you could go there with the cargo loading and unloading. 700 tons instantaneously transfer. Yeah.
Fuel scooping complete.
It does kind of cheapen the experience a little bit. I was to say, I know from my days of trading that one could land, dump 788 tons of cargo, and launch to the next system inside of 3 minutes. So, I mean, yeah, I can see that. You have a valid point there.
Clones are possible with quantum entangled
There was
central
just a spider web
consciousness.
in which space? It went down to the bottom left if you want to rewind and watch that. Or a snowflake. It might have been a snowflake.
Smarty pants.
Fuel scooping.
Hold on a second. Let me not high five the sun star. Clones are possible with quantum entangled central consciousness. Not really. Not really. You're
Complete.
I'm trying to remember who actually wrote that. That would require the input of the upload of consciousnesses to a massive grid, or you say entangled, but a massive database where they are all shared like a mainframe. You're basically at that point creating a matrix of not artificial intelligence, but uploaded intelligence. And that still doesn't make clones possible. That would merely make automatons controlled by telepresence from the mainframe possible. Cloning is completely separate from consciousness transfer. You know I'm not going to accept that, man. I'm just not. Nothing personal, but I like to be hunted on my own terms, and if I'm going to be hunted, I live stream, you know. Now, if somebody wants to hunt me while I'm doing this, that would be annoying.
I am not gonna friends list hunt.
The only person I know that
The
has
clones are
honored
drones,
that,
yes.
that they won't friends list hunt is Germ. Germ has never friends list hunted me to date,
Drive charging.
which is me saying yet. I'm not being a cynic there. But I do have plenty of friends in the past that would totally do that shit.
4, 3, 2,
What, babe? Your cat will be back. Stop pouting. Side note, clones are drones. Yes, yes, absolutely. My wife's cat last night started going psycho and literally
Bluebeard
just
hunts properly.
attacking everyone without cause. And I put her outside, and she's been an inside cat since she was about 6 months old. So she's worried about her. She's about 3.5 now, and she's upset and pouty because her cat was not sitting outside the door when she woke up this morning. I told her, I said, the cat will come back. You know, don't worry about it. The cat will be fine. She'll learn a few things when she's out there. Probably come back pregnant, but whatever. Bluebeard hunts properly. I mean, I can appreciate that. I also go on hunts, but
3, 2,
I'd like you to feature on my next video.
oh crack, that didn't show up in the chat. I'd like you to be featured on my next video. You talking about the Fight Club?
fuel scoop.
No. Basically, I am a bad guy, yes.
Well, I mean, I get that. I mean, I have a lot of friends that are bad guys. Just because they're not on my friends list, that just means I don't want to be hunted by them. For example, Berserker, Digital Vector, Germ, all people that I've partied with and talked to on a regular basis at some point in time in my Elite Dangerous career. I actually like them. I mean, they're cool guys. But obviously, I'm
I
not
hit
going to.
100 subscribers, so I am making a 100 kills for 100 subscribers video.
Oh, I got you. What makes you think you can kill me, man? Sound awful confident.
I am Bluebeard.
Yeah, confidence is a necessity for a pilot. Can't have a bunch of people with inferiority complexes out piloting multi-billion credit ships. Where are we? Yeah, we've got quite a few down. Damn,
Fuel
hiccups.
scooping complete.
Quit worrying about it.
Frameshift drive charging.
And stop running in and out. What? What?
4, 3, 2,
No, you can't. I can't air condition the front yard. Oh man. But
I
aside
must
from
go, dinner time.
yep, dinner time. Where the hell are you? Are you English?
I hope you explode.
You might explode. I did in my last PvP video. Tune in, Zemaya time-stamped it so you could find it quickly.
F.
What, babe?
It says it left Memphis, Tennessee at 4:05 and it got to Paducah
frameshift drive charging.
27.
Yeah, plane.
Toodaloo.
Later, dude. Thanks for tuning in.
4, 3, 2,
Speeding. Who's that leave? Who's left? TFW? I'm sorry, man. I know your name is not Forrest Whitaker, but every time I see TFW, I see in my head the Forrest Whitaker.
1. System scan complete. Fuel scooping.
For those of you just tuning in, the conversation up for debate is whether or not wormholes or mass drivers or some type
TFW
of
is still here.
mass transit between large space gaps would add, subtract, cheapen, or change negatively the game.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
The Forrest Whitaker, yeah. I keep seeing the Forrest Whitaker every time I see TFW.
Frameshift drive charging.
Feel free to add your comments into the live chat discussion. If you are unable to do so, enjoy the ride. It's about 300 jumps. I've got 50 of them out of the way.
3 things I like: tigers, forests, and walking. TFW.
I know. Still see the Forrest Whitaker when I see it though. Because the F is forests, and I see the Forrest Whitaker, man. I just can't see anything else. It's a brain blockage. Here's a question. How many of you have ever actually seen this, the galactic core, on a dark night without
They have a
light
doctor
pollution?
for that.
Have a doctor for that. Yeah, I know. I need some new classes. I really do.
Frameshift drive charging.
I still see 2015 with these, but you know, just something about knowing that you've been wearing the same pair of glasses for 10 years, you know. It's like driving a car for 10 years. After a while, you start noticing the little things that don't really matter, that aren't quite right anymore. Like I've been splashed with acid. There's one little spot in the bottom right of my vision that is permanently blurred because the lens is damaged. I say acid, it was actually base, but for the sake of conversation, we'll call it acid. Alright, let's see. Yep, 199 bottles of beer on the wall.
Fuel scooping complete.
Why do I not have any neutrons in this jump so far? This sucks. Oh, one of these days I'm going to mark out the neutron superhighway on an alt account and then share the bookmarks with the squadron so that the squadron bookmarks will have the neutron superhighway. An idea that I got from Digital Vector, by the way.
Fuel scooping.
An incredibly good idea. I just can't hold those bookmarks on this account. And I don't play the other account enough to sit down and map it out.
Complete.
It would be incredibly useful.
Frameshift drive charging.
Fox doesn't doctor.
That is correct. I do not doctor.
2, 1.
I'm about to probably go to a doctor for the first time in a hello. That's a nifty little scene. Oh, there's another one right there. You don't like my ship? I'll see how you are.
Fuel scooping.
That's
System scan complete.
Laura doesn't like humans. 6 bodies. I got 4 of them in one picture. Where are the other ones? I'm thinking so too.
Holy crap. They're all
Fuel scooping complete.
Bobby Rambo.
covered in.
Yeah.
Warning. Temperature critical.
Yeah, I can imagine it's pretty hot right where I'm at. While I'm cooling off, let me upload that to one of my communities. Pardon the blue screens. Shouldn't be long, I promise. Someone asked if anyone could get a DBX higher than his jump range, and the answer was yes, but I haven't hit a neutron to show him yet. What are you doing? Why are we please waiting? Communities?
Frameshift drive charging.
That was weird. I agree. That's basically my take on it. Tiger Forest Walk says I am fine if there are natural wormholes or manufactured jump gates, and I agree with that. I mean, there are 100 different logical possibilities for lore that we could put in the game to make that a thing. I mean, there just is. Here's the first neutron jump. Which one? Yeah, I'm dead center. We'll go left. Hard to surf these in a little ship.
Frameshift drive.
You just get
operating
tossed.
beyond safety limits. Frameshift drive supercharged.
Alright.
You're crazy.
Why? Gonna share that to that community. Why am I crazy?
Cause you're crazy. Just fly through the tail.
Yeah, so it's fun. It adds a level of mystery to it.
Right.
Frameshift
Alright.
drive charging.
Shouldn't be any more blue screens for a little while. So we have that. I would like to get an opposing opinion. So we may have to wait around for an opposing opinion, guys. I don't know who disliked. Probably Bluebeard being a douche.
3, 2, 1.
He seems to be a pretty cool guy. I look forward to fighting him. Hopefully it'll be a good fight. Not saying I don't think he'll be a good fight, but more along the lines of I hope it will be a semi-decent match.
Fuel scooping.
I hate fighting people who grossly
System scan complete.
out-experience me. Oh man. Onward. For those tuning in,
Wormholes make
feel
people
free
lazy.
to insert your
Makes
opinion.
this more an arcade game and not a simulation.
Fuel scooping complete.
I could see Tiger Forest Walk says wormholes make people lazy. Makes this more of an arcade game and not a simulation. Not really. And I'll definitely refute that idea because we already believe wormholes to exist. We just haven't found them, and obviously, since we can't travel outside of our moon in a manned flight, we've yet to go and actually explore them personally. However, wormhole, while still theoretical,
3,
are so plausible they are believed to be a reality. Now, the traversal through them is highly theoretical. Obviously, we would study them for years upon years before we actually decided to, dive trillions of dollars of equipment straight through it, and possibly just lose it right there. But
system scan complete.
I don't think that it would make people lazy. Honestly, people in general, and this is going to sound cynical, but it's true. People in general are lazy anyway. You have your exceptions. There are people who are not lazy. There are plenty of people who are not lazy. But people in general are lazy, which is why so few venture out to Colonia. Now, there is the argument that if you were to put a wormhole that connected two great distances apart in the game, that griefers would use it to frequently grief explorers. And you're right. You are right. You are 100% right. However, in real life, with the situation that we have it in the game, aren't there going to be murderers everywhere, not just in the highly populated areas? I'm eating a cookie.
Frameshift drive charging.
I'm also going to take a year to get there if I don't hit the button.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I like the simulation idea. I do. Which is why I like the idea of a wormhole rather than a math drive.
Fuel skipping. Fuel scooping complete.
The
However,
hardest thing to believe in Elite though is superluminal, super cruise, travel.
well, why? Why is that hard to believe? Frame shift drive
Frameshift drive
worked
charging.
along much of the same precedent and ideals of space folding, also known as warp and other lores, but Super Cruise
4, 3, 2, 1.
some type of local, even Star Trek had impulse engines, which would be what this game considers Super Cruise. They could traverse from Pluto to Earth quickly, in a matter of 15 or 20 minutes. And I think in the episode with the Borg, they actually traversed in about 15 minutes the entire radius of the solar system, which is about accurate with this game. So even impulse engines from Star Trek would align with the ideals of our Super Cruise. I don't know if I read that comment out loud. If I didn't, I apologize. Forest Walk said the hardest thing to believe in Elite is
You are
superluminal super
comparing
cruise travel.
plot devices to simulated reality.
Not really. You said it was hard for you to believe Super Cruise, and I said that no, you would just need two different forms of propulsion on a ship, which they even had in another parallel sci-fi thriller.
3, 2,
And that wasn't a simulated reality. That was just exactly as I said, it was sci-fi.
fuel scooping.
And even as the Star Trek lore used impulse power, we also know from the time it took them to traverse the entire system, I don't know if they were traveling, I don't know if impulse was slower than light or
Fuel
not,
scooping complete.
but this game just uses the unit of measure c, which is the speed of light. As you can currently see, I'm traveling 1/4 the speed of light.
Frameshift drive charging.
You say you need to go buy something for that?
4, 3, 2, 1.
You will find, Forest Walk, that I'm not a complete idiot when it comes to science. Just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean I'm an idiot when it comes to science. It's because I am well versed that I hold my current views.
Fuel scooping. System scan complete.
Wow, that one's out there, isn't it?
I know a lot of scientists who are Christians. Many astronomers are quite devout.
Yep. I think you meant to say devout, but yeah, I know what you meant. He says, I know a lot of scientists who are Christians. Many astronomers are quite devout. And I agree with that. It is, most people, namely devout atheists, will say that it's not possible to be both. And I disagree. Because the scientific method
3, 2,
aligns perfectly with many faiths. I'm not just going to single out Christianity here. It aligns with many faiths. Having an idea, dreaming up a way to test and prove said or disprove said idea,
fuel scooping.
performing said experiment, and then sitting back and recalling and concluding upon the evidence. Um, there is nothing in that conflicts with any organized faith as we know it. Um, the question and the issue usually come when people believe theory to be fact, and they don't. That when people stop I want to say edifying theory as theory and start believing every theory to be fact. That's where your division lies, because there are people that says, well, that makes sense, that is what is well known, and that is what is being distributed, and that is what is accepted, and they don't take away from that it is still theory. And belief in theory is optional and subjective.
Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I don't know why that has been stuck in my head for days. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm not loving it. I do not eat McDonald's. On a very rare occasion, maybe once every 5 blue moons, I'll eat a Diet Coke at McDonald's. And under incredibly rare circumstances, say on a traveling trip, and there's absolutely nothing else open that I can find, I might eat some chicken nuggets because I love their hot mustard. I love their hot mustard. I'm not even a fan of their chicken nuggets. I think they're disgusting, but anything tastes good in that hot mustard, man. And one would say or argue, why don't you just eat the hot mustard? I do. I stick my tongue straight in that little cup and scoop it out like a spoon. I love that stuff. It's delicious. My wife like cringes every time I do it, but I love it. I used to eat a McFish every now and then, and for copyright reasons I'm going to maintain calling it a McFish. But they stopped cooking them fresh. 5 or 10 years ago, they always cooked them fresh because you can't just leave fish sitting out. But in recent years, in the last decade, they've actually started keeping them cooked, usually at least one, keeping them cooked and leaving them in a warming drawer. And they're disgusting. They're greasy. They're just a slop of funky mess. And I don't like it. Szechuan sauce? I don't know what that is.
Fuel scooping complete.
Szechuan? I don't. Yeah, Szechuan is, but that's not how Szechuan is spelled. So I'm thinking he's talking about something else because he's very articulate. So I'm pretty sure he's spelling it like that on purpose. Oh, it is a Chinese spell. I can't spell. Forgive me. We just had this discussion. Said they used to have it as a Chinese sauce. I can't spell it. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever had it. I like Szechuan style Chinese food, so I mean I'm sure it was delicious. But you can ask my wife; she'll confirm. I can't get past the hot mustard at McDonald's, man. If I'm going to get a sauce at McDonald's, it's hot mustard. Burger King, I love Burger King's barbecue sauce. Of course, Burger King I actually will eat at. I will eat at Burger King. So Upon reviewing my videos, Burger King, feel free to sponsor me. McDonald's, I won't turn down the sponsor, but I'm not going to lie for you. So you're going to have to come up with something that's edible before I can, you know, sponsor
Fuel
you
scooping
or
complete.
be sponsored by you. But yeah, Burger King, I'll still eat almost Burger King's entire menu, except for their chicken nuggets are kind of gross. Their chicken
Frameshift
fingers or
drive
chicken
charging.
fries are all basically the same grossness. The habanero pineapple sauce from Domino's is your favorite. Don't they have that on a sandwich? I think they do. They have that on I believe it's a chicken sandwich, and if I remember correctly, that is delicious. Yeah, it's actually really. Speaking of pineapples, you need to gut one so I can cook it. You can't just let it go bad.
Fuel scooping.
I need a green one for cooking, not one that's ready. What? I need the acidity. Habanero pineapple. I've got some habaneros in there. And I have pineapples. Totally make some my own sauce.
Frameshift drive charging.
It's funny how we go
3.
and we get sidetracked talking about food. Of all things, video gamers and food. Potheads and food and video gamers and food. Especially video gaming potheads love food. I'm not a pothead, by the way. I am a gamer, though. I am a true gamer. I appreciate games for what they are. Games.
Fuel scooping.
And I am also a critic. I'm highly critical. Yeah, highly critical. My bad. Stopped that word a little soon. Highly critical of video games. That's one fault of mine. That's why I haven't played a lot of games, is because I'm so critical and picky. Very picky. I would be a bad professional gamer because I can't bring myself to play shit games, and there's so many of them. This one included.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive
They've done
charging.
so much with this game. They've set the bar so high, and then they fail with its execution, and it's not on a level of Destiny or Anthem or anything like that. No, it's straight up program execution. This game being riddled with so many bugs is its number one vice, and it's its only downfall, in my personal opinion. I mean, it's a beautiful game, but the bugs make it shit. And every time there's an update, everyone knows it's going to get worse, because there are always game-breaking
Complete.
bugs with every update, and that's what makes it shit. It's not the game. The game, in a nutshell. Wham. This is the game. To answer your question, well, what is that? Yes, that's what it is. This is the game, man. That's the nutshell. Feel free to crack open the nutshell and chew on the soft, nummy bits on the inside, but it is a beautiful game. The idea, the lore, the customization, the possibilities, the interactions, all of that is remarkable. Just the programming bugs, man.
if this were a matrix, the entire population would revolt because of the bugs. It's that bad. Look at this. This particular ship. It has an animation. These engines actually turn down 45 degrees when it lands. The wings actually tilt. You'll notice the vent, the heat vent in the back for cooling the ship while fuel scooping. This is probably one of the prettier ships in the game because of its concept, its design, its utility. This is one of their babies. A lot of love went into that. Oh shit! It's getting hot in here. Yep. Oops. Try not to do that. I don't keep a heat sink on this build. You live with a very good vegan cook. We talk food. Question about that. Are you vegan as well, or is he just a chef that specializes in vegan cuisine? And if so, is he himself a vegan?
She is vegan. I am not.
I got you. Is that a problem for the two of you in the same house? I mean, does one try to convert the other, or are you guys respectable of each other's dietary requirements?
Frameshift drive charging.
Because I know some vegans, and when I say some, the majority that I've met, not all, but the majority that I've met, literally cringe
She has
at the sight
medical reasons
of it.
to not eat meat.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Said she has medical reasons to not eat. That does make a lot of sense. However, I've seen some, well, most that I've seen, we'll word it that way, literally cringe and just, I don't know, just revolt at the sight, you know, which makes it incredibly unpleasant for an omnivore to enjoy their meal in the presence of one so cringy, used in a different sense.
Fuel scooping complete.
However, I prefer to get my meat from local, ethical farms when I eat it at all.
Amen. That's why Laura and I eat a lot of buffalo.
Frameshift drive charging.
Because the town that we live in has, well, okay, we'll extend that out, not the town. The county that we live in has 7 buffalo farms. We eat buffalo all the time, just because we prefer to eat local.
3, 2,
As processed, as little as possible meat. And of course, you know, the local Walmart sell beefalo, and we stay away from that because all they do is take good, fresh meat and mix it with highly processed, loaded with preservative meat.
We support our farmer friends.
We support, I don't know if you and I have had this conversation before, but I personally support, and Laura backs up my my lifestyle, small local businesses. We don't reject big business. I mean, it's not that extreme, but in every possible way, we support every small business we can. Yes, we'll pay more for something because we want to get it at a hardware store and support the local families rather than going to Walmart. Yes, we'll pay a little bit more for. I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on.
We agree.
Oh, excuse me. But we'll pay a little bit more for groceries because we'll go to the local Save-A-Lot rather than Walmart. Now, not everything's more expensive there. Some things are. It's a 50-50. About half their products are cheaper, half of their products are more expensive. But yeah, we go to the small businesses everywhere. And the reason for that is corporate Walmart could shut down this Walmart tomorrow. Why? Because it's not making enough money. The local businesses, they may go 3 days before a customer actually walks through the door and they stay open. Why? Because that's their family, you know. They have 4 employees working in it that live in 4 separate houses. You know, they don't all live together. And their business, their labor costs will be upwards of 55 to 60%, as opposed to your local Wendy's will try to keep it below 11. You know, so I mean, they're people. The business is for the people. It's to support the people. It's not to support a multi-billion-dollar corporation that will cut its funding if it's not turning over a 300% profit, you know. But that's just another political view that we won't get into politics.
Fuels complete.
I support local businesses. I love them. Especially the food. I'll eat at a diner and pay $2 more for my meal rather than going across the street to McDonald's.
Frameshift drive charging.
It's just the way I am. Plus, I like the food better. Well, what was that? Oh, that's 136. I was like, whoa! No.
3, 2, 1. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two,
Ooh, almost jumped.
system scan.
Almost jumped.
Fuel scooping. Frameshift drive
Oh, it's a
charging.
neutron star, too. That would suck. That would have sucked. Oh, I'm gonna run grab me a drink, guys, while this is fuel scooping. Oh, and I guess I'll...
I love neutron stars now.
Oh, yes.
Still scare me though.
Well, scare, or do you have a respect for them? There's a difference. It's okay to respect them. Completely okay to respect them. Because I myself, you'll see me jump through every neutron possible. Save going through the neutron superhighway because I don't have that mapped out. But I'll go through
Playing
every
with
neutron
fire.
possible. And I rarely die. I don't think I've ever died in a neutron star. Now, I've died in white dwarves probably a half dozen times, okay? White dwarves and me don't get along. But I've never died in the neutron. But I do still have that respect for what they can do to you, you know, because it's happened to me. Is it a leeriness? No, it's more of a quivering excitement when you see one. You're like, all right, here we go. Yesterday's stream, oddly enough, on yesterday's stream, I came a hair's breadth from losing my ship to a white dwarf. A hair's breadth, and I mean that. I even said it when it happened. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna die. But that happened. It was fun. I had just escaped being stream sniped.
Frameshift drive charging.
And after escaping the stream snipe, I almost died in a in a white dwarf. And what I was responding to was
3, 2,
Forest Walk said, I love neutron stars now. Still scare me though. That's why I said no, they don't quite scare me. He said they're playing with fire. Oh, signing out. No problem, man. Thanks for tuning in. That's Forest Walk, everybody. Oh, neutron.
I like the game as it is with neutron stars. It takes skill.
It
I doubt
does
they
take
could
skill.
get a wormhole in this game, and besides everyone should not.
frameshift drive.
1 second. Let me get out of this neutron, and then I'll read that out loud and respond to it.
They are new to the game.
All right. 296. All right. Nova McCool. I like the game as it is. With neutron stars, it takes skill. I agree with that. I doubt they could get a wormhole in this game. And besides, everyone should be able to travel long distances when they're new to the game. I understand your process of thinking there. I do. And I also agree with it. I'm not going to dispute that. However, wormholes or mass drivers, which would be an artificial method,
Charging.
I don't see how that would cheapen the experience. Ultimately, you're just creating one shortcut
3,
between 2 points. The explorers are still going to explore, no matter what. They just are. So I don't see how it would cheapen it, as long as you were careful with it and didn't make it super easy. Since you're just tuning in, let me settle into a fuel scoop and I'll demonstrate that visually. I was thinking along the lines of this area over here. There it is. This area over here with a lot of nebula in it. Finding like a wormhole over here, or a mass driver of Guardian technology or some sorts, which is still 2,500 from the bubble, and having it lead to this group somewhere in this group of nebula over here, which is still 1,500 away from civilization. Just for people who want to travel point A, point B. I like the neutron superhighway, but you have to understand and realize that those are not natural. Those were put in the game for a shortcut. Those do not exist in our known galaxy.
4, 3, 2, 1.
They were inserted for convenience.
Okay, I can see that.
But
System scan
to your point,
complete.
I totally agree.
Fuel scoping.
Totally agree. Absolutely love the game exactly the way it is. But the only argument I have for inserting one of these two methods, one being an artificial guardian tech, one be a naturally occurring, wormhole.
Fuel scoping complete.
The only reason I can support that, and the only reason I even venture an argument on its behalf, is because I know the neutron stars were staggered conveniently
Charging.
in high density between these known areas, between the bubble and Colonia, between the bubble and Sag, and between Colonia and Sag. There's a triangle of neutron stars that have been inserted for convenience.
3, 2,
Now have you played EVE Online?
I have
Please no wormhole like they did.
I get that. Other games, I'm talking about maintaining the confines of our current lore.
system scan complete.
Oh, I went straight through that.
Frameshift drive operating beyond safety limits. Warning, frameshift drive operating beyond safety
Ride
limits.
this wave.
Frameshift drive supercharged.
296 every time. It's always 296. 300 is my jump ranger. Why?
Frameshift
Why is it always 296? In case you guys wonder what I'm eating, I'm eating stale cornbread with hot sauce. I love it. I like fresh cornbread too, but when it's stale, it gets dry and it absorbs the hot sauce really well. Homemade cornbread, by the way, not Jiffy mix. Nothing against Jiffy. But my wife makes damn good cornbread on her own. With a few preservatives, one might actually mistake it for Jiffy. You want a bite? No?
Fuel scooping complete.
My wife does not share my affinity for cornbread and hot sauce. No. Watch your feet don't kick my
Frameshift drive
plate
charging.
over. Now, that, let me read that out loud. No McCool says, I'd love a wormhole to the Andromeda Galaxy for Elite 2. And we don't know what the name of Elite 2 is going to be. We'll stick with Elite 2 for now. I'm not going to lie to you, McCool. I am 100% sure. And if I'm wrong, great. I love being wrong. Doesn't happen very often. But I am 100% sure that that's what Raxla is. Raxla is going to be the gate that ties the two galaxies together for the second rendition of Elite Dangerous.
Fuel scooping complete.
Because technically Elite Dangerous is Elite 2, because the irregular, the first game was known as Elite. So technically we'd be waiting around for Elite 3. So, but anyway, yes, I actually would like to see some type of galaxy to galaxy wormhole, or some type of black hole travel, where we realize that we can enter our black hole and emerge from another one. I don't see how the hell they would write that into lore, but that would be cool. We'd have to shit on a lot of science to get that to work.
Warning, frameshift drive operating beyond safety limits.
Ride the wave, ride the wave.
Frameshift drive
Ah, don't throw me out.
supercharged.
295.
Frameshift drive charging.
Thought it was Frontier followed by Frontier 2G Elite.
I thought the original game was Elite. Just Elite. I don't know. I'll have to double check that.
3, 2, 1.
If anybody wants to open a new tab. Here's a blue white.
System scan complete. Fuel scooping.
Let's see if we can prove me wrong for the first time in this live stream. Frontier Elite. Yep, we're gonna look up Eliter.
Fuel scooping complete.
You correct, Elite 2 was called Frontier.
Hold on a second. Let me get back to the stream so I can read what you just said.
Okay, break over, fly safe.
Yep, thanks for tuning in. I'll read what you said and respond to it when my laptop starts responding to me. Elite 2 was called Frontier. Gotcha. Oh, take it easy, friend.
Frameshift drive charging.
I've almost devoured this cornbread.
Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging.
You need to up your pace. Colonia record has been beaten, 1 hour 38 minutes.
Oh, I'm not trying to beat that, but it'll take me 4 hours to get there. I'm in a DBX. Got a slow fuel rate.
Fuel scooping complete.
Welcome back, though. Thanks for tuning back in.
Frameshift drive charging.
Probably replot now.
Can I be personal for a moment?
Absolutely, be personal for a moment. If you're gonna compliment me on my sexy voice, I already know, man, but thanks for the compliment.
Fuel scooping.
Okay, yes, it is very soothing.
No, what were you gonna say? Excuse me. Damn. I think it's a tear. Oh, stop. Stop, stop, stop. There we go. Economy. Come here.
But anyway, you are a reverend in real life?
Correct. That is correct. You're asking if I'm a real reverend in real life. And you spelled reverend correct. Mine is spelled differently on purpose. But yes, I am a reverend in real life. That's an anaconda. No, that's not what I want.
Autocorrect.
Autocorrect? Well, I mean, autocorrect is correct in this case. In games, I spell mine with an A. So instead of being Reverend, it's actually Reaver and Chaotic Fox.
Warning. Temperature critical.
Oh, it's getting hot in here. There's my Phantom. Yeah, I'm 5,000 out. Still got 21,000 to go. Is it still plotting? It is.
I understand you have religious views and must stick by them, but why do you have the same morals within a sci-fi game? It is not a dig issue.
I'm just curious. So I understand you have religious views and I must stick by them, but why do you have the same morals within a sci-fi game? It's not a dig, I'm just curious. Well, as this is technically a simulation, one must pick a character, aka a role to play. And where I also play Dungeons and Dragons, I'm a dungeon master. I enjoy playing characters, and in this case, I have 3 characters in this game that I play. I have a explorer, which is Chaotic Fox. I have a crazy old man, which is Entropic Enigma, that plays in the noob bubble and does not leave the noob bubble. He meanders about, and when he sees another commander, he
Frameshift drive charging.
starts mumbling unintelligibly in the local chat nonsense, and then he just wakes out, starts talking about, Thargoids or Raxla or honey badgers or something like that. Just random stuff. I enjoy playing characters, but since this particular PSN does carry the Rev in front of its name, I chose to play my actual character, which is me. So that is why this particular character does abide by the same religious code as I currently have. Because this particular character I'm playing is actually me. It would behoove you to know that in Skyrim, my Argonian is one evil assassin.
Thank you for the explanation.
Oh, no problem, man. When I play RPGs, for example, Skyrim, I have 3 different characters that I'm live streaming with right now. Switching controllers, guys. And I try to play them to the fullest because I enjoy that. I enjoy the role play. And since I couldn't change the name, it has Reverend in it, so I decided to play myself as a Reverend. Now I do have a foul mouth. I do still cuss. Not on purpose. That's just part of my upbringing. I cuss a lot less than I used to, but I do still have a profane tongue, so to speak. And the reasoning behind that is all of the religious texts that I abide by, none of it says not to. Therefore, there's absolutely nothing
So
wrong
role play aside,
with that.
what do you think to people who get pissy in RL, i.e. on Facebook when they get blown up?
I don't know why that didn't show up in chat. However, you may have got auto censored due to a word. But from what I heard was, what do I think of people who get pissy in real life or blow up on Facebook because their ship blew up? Man, if your personal life, now this is 100% opinionated, okay? 100% opinionated. This is not doctrine, any type of religious doctrine or moral doctrine or anything like that. This is strictly my opinion. If your personal life is so tied to a video game's outcome, meaning if you are emotionally and physically affected by a game that you play, personally you have a problem. You have a severe problem. I'm not saying you have a mental problem. I'm not saying you're crazy or anything. I'm saying you have a problem. I have, not because my ship got blew up, but I have several times, due to interactions with players in this game, become angry or pissed off. Not because my ship blew up, again, I say. Usually because of something that was said in the party. Because a lot of people, not all people and not even the majority of people, but there are a lot of people who believe themselves to be invincible because they are over a video game. Meaning they believe they can say and do things that they wouldn't normally do in real life because they are quote unquote untouchable. I'm the opposite. And in games past, I have met people in real life. I have traveled 12 hours in a car to meet someone in real life from a video game that wanted to call my bluff. Was it for a fight? No, the only one I ever met for an actual fight was what what was his name? Mike something. But it was in a game, Dust 514, which was the first-person shooter version of EVE Online. And I did, because he was actually really close, and he was just a really loudmouth, just hostile, negative influence on anyone that he came in contact with. And he was just talking, he would do this, he would do that, he would do this, he would do that. So I called him out. And when I told him where I lived, which I have done many times throughout video games, like, look, if you think you're a badass, here's my address, come get some. He flipped out because we were actually so close to each other. We lived less than 30 minutes away from each other. And we met. And he brought backup. I brought my wife. Needless to say, there was no fight. And he blocked me on PSN after that. He didn't want to have no part of it. His backup didn't want to have any part of it. No, I am not a badass by any means. My fighting experience in real life is limited. However, I'm not helpless. I know how to take care of myself. Very much like you see in game on a lot of these streams, I know how to survive, even where violence is necessary. And I don't shun it. I mean, yes, my religion preaches turn the other cheek, and that's fine. But it doesn't say stand there and let them hit you the first time. Okay? Think about that. Nowhere does it say stand there and allow someone to abuse you. It says if a man strikes you on the cheek, turn to him the other cheek. I'm a fan of dodging and counterpunching, but that's just me. Hope I didn't get too far off on a tangent there, but ultimately your question was, how do I feel about people who are affected in that manner by video games? And my honest feeling is that they have a problem, much like gambling. It is an unwanted effect from a stimulus that they are addicted to. And, you know, once or twice in this game, someone has pissed me off, usually by something they say, and I literally wanted to just travel and kill their ship. And to prevent that, this is actually what I do currently. I'll pick a nebula somewhere that I haven't been yet, and I travel to it. And if when I get there I still want to kill them, I pick a different nebula and I travel to it. And after the second nebula, if I still want to kill them, say, aka I'm still pissed off, I travel to another nebula. And I do that until I am able to calm down and forgive them. And only then do I turn, after I have calmed down and forgiven said person for whatever reason, only then do I turn and come back to the bubble when I no longer want to kill the person, because I'm playing a character in this game that does not kill. Am I responsible for deaths? Yes, absolutely, a bunch of them. But most of those deaths were unintentional. Yeah, oopsidents. You know, an honorable duel, when I say an honorable duel, it's usually, hey, I'm not going to kill you. You're going to stop at 10%. I'm not a big fan of stopping at numbers, because you're constantly looking at numbers to know when to stop. It's more along the lines of when there's a drastic difference between the two, it's like, okay, you lost, dude. You know, I'm sitting at 90% hull with 15% shields, and you're sitting at, 40% hull. It's like, there's no point in going on. You're losing. Or there are the exact opposite of times where a fight is so close where you're like 2 to 3% hull difference. For example, yours and someone else's fight. I watched Bluebeard fight someone else and I think you had 3% hull when he blew up. And it just came down to who got the last shot off, who could actually land their last shot, and it was a really good fight. It was a good match, and in those cases, yes, I have fought to the death with people, lost and won, just to see who would actually get that last hit because it was too close to call at, say, 30 or 20 or whatever percent. And I don't believe in that. It's just if you are absolutely beating the pants off of someone, me personally, if I'm doing it, I'm not going to kill him because there's no point in it. There's no honor in it. It's not a fair fight. I'm obviously advantaged in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just experience and pilot ability. And vice versa. If someone is just absolutely kicking my ass, and that's happened, I will change my battle tactic. If I feel, and you can watch the stream the other night when I died, if I feel that I'm absolutely getting trounced, I will attempt an escape. Why? Because fighting is no longer the goal. Survival is the goal. And like on the live stream, they killed me then. I couldn't even get away. It was a damn good match. They beat the fire out of me. But it happens. That's just part of the game. Do I get mad about that? No, I don't get mad when I lose a ship. If someone's able to kill me, it happened on live stream about a week ago. I was in a Type 9, and Berserker showed up and just one-shot me, man. It was hilarious. And I switched to, I was in Aerovate, so I switched to a Sidewinder. And of course, most people are like, ooh, a Sidewinder. He's just trying to keep his, the cost of a rebuy down low. No, it wasn't the case indeed. The Sidewinder is fully engineered, and I went out and I challenged them in a Sidewinder, and they couldn't kill me. I was able to dance around them, and in one case, almost killed an Anaconda in my Sidewinder. I mean, I play differently. I like to survive, and I like to win fights, especially fair fights. You can't exactly judge a fair fight by a person's ship. For example, I'm in a Diamondback Explorer. That doesn't mean that an Anaconda can kick my ass. It just doesn't. This one, maybe. Okay, this one is. Look at its jump range. I mean, you know what I've done to this ship. This one, yeah. But you can't just look at a DBX and just assume that you can kick its ass, because a DBX has the same firepower as an Orca. And everyone knows an Orca to be an incredibly quick, incredibly cold, and a dangerous weapon in the right hands. Has a good jump range too. In fact, I think yesterday, one of the stream snipers that were after me was in an Orca. But yeah, I like to survive, and I like to stand and fight where it's warranted. Tommy Boy yesterday kept trying to tell me to turn and fight him, and I was like, it wouldn't be a fight, it'd be a slaughter. So no, it's not a fair fight. It was 3v1. I wasn't gonna stand there and just let someone kill me. And there are other people that do differently. Some people actually do that, and people that I call friends are among them, that will just sit there and let someone kill them, like, oh, he's gonna kill me anyway. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that mentality. It's just not me. A fox is my spirit animal. A fox will fight. A fox will run. It fits my personality. It's the animal in the animal kingdom that I most alike in my personality to. It's not because I'm conceited and think I'm sexy or something. It's well, if I were an animal, I'd be a fox. It's just my personality. Vicious when backed into a corner. My actual birth name is Running Bear. That's what my mother gave me, which is funny because of recent developments with our DNA history. But we all have Native American names.
Eagle is mine.
Eagle. So I say mine is Running Bear. My mother gave us all native names. Mine was, like I said for the third time, Running Bear, because it fit my personality. She named me when I was about 4 or 5. I wasn't giving Running Bear a birth. I was given Running Bear when I was 4 or 5 because I earned the name, which was essentially what does a bear do? It does run. It stays away from any and everything. However, when forced to fight, what is a bear? A bear's a bear. You know, it's just what it is. But personally, I fight like a fox. I like to be kind of sneaky. I like to outmaneuver. I like to be faster. I like, you know, speed. I like to be really quiet. I like to hit really hard. I like to gauge my opponent from afar, make that decision whether or not I'm going to fight it or run from it. You know, even being caught unawares as I was yesterday, I'm always at least able. I try to give myself the ability to be able to GTFO and survive, because that adds to the simulation that Elite is. You know, it's the space life simulator. Do I always get away? No, not always. Does that piss me off? No. What do I think of people who do get pissed off because of it? Well, I think they have a problem with where they invest their emotions.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I know. Very long answer. Mutasim, welcome.
Fuel scooping. Warning.
Thanks.
And I have high-fived my first star. It happens. I'm out there.
Frame shift.
I was
drive
close.
charging.
It's close enough.
Ready to engage. 3, 2, 1. Engage. Warning. Temperature critical. Fuel scooping.
Oh man. Every now and then, I high-five stars.
Fuel scooping complete.
No particular reason. I just, you know, occasionally just want to high-five a star. 189. I don't remember how many I had. I don't know if I had. Oh, I had 255, but I was going to Cash Yappa. I've now replotted to Colonia. So I've probably done a little over 100 jumps before I high-fived my first star. Why are you using that? Why don't you use the book that I bought?
Look, there is.
Ready to engage.
Yeah, there is. Yes, there is. The little bitty thin one.
I looked at both of them, but he didn't.
4, 3, 2, 1.
You finished the book? Oh. How did he die, sort of? Oh.
System scan complete. Fuel scooping.
about due for another neutron. It's been a while since I hit one.
Frameshift drive charging.
Doesn't look like I have any neutrons. That's how you know that the neutrons were inserted artificially outside of any star chart. What, babe?
Fuel scoping.
What? Oh, out loud. They have medication for that. What about you, Mutasim? What do you think of, if you're still here, what do you think of the possibility of incorporating or adding either discovered wormholes or discovered Guardian technology like mass drivers that would allow us to possibly jump 20,000 light years between 2 points in a single jump?
That would be nice.
I agree. Not saying put them everywhere, you know, like interstates or anything like that, but the insertion of one or two of said devices would open up the game a little bit.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
I don't know, like fuel scoop a black hole or something. I don't know. Oh, and this is at the point of the trip, roughly 2 hours in, where you start getting sick again. Some people only last 1 hour.
Fuel scooping.
I'm only 6K out. DBXD1, isn't that Dav's Hope? Hades Sector DBXD1? I think it is. Let's look. That would be under G, under grind. Oh, that's DVR. So what's, huh? I don't know. I have to ask them what they're doing. Yeah. Why? To die? Oh, so now that one's doing it too? Well, go get the other book. I'll show it to you in it. The little bitty one. The Artemis Fowl little bitty one. No, one of them is an animated book, which is a comic book. It's the book you're currently reading in comic book form. It's actually pretty good, too. Yes.
Fuel scooping complete.
Let's see here.
Warning, temperature critical.
Told you it was in there.
Frame shift drive charging.
Uh-huh.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Just don't break the spine. Oh man. So who all's present in the live stream? We're down to 4. I know unless you have your own YouTube channel, you can't participate in live chat. So if you're unable, don't worry. I'm not ignoring you. I'm not going to hold it against you for tuning in and not being able to chat. But who is what are you doing? That moment when your laptop jumps pages when you're trying to scroll down.
Present.
Yeah, we'll get that as soon as it lets me.
Scooping complete.
I think my laptop needs rebooted.
Module malfunction. Frame
FSD
shift drive
malfunction.
charging.
Well. Yeah, really, already? I haven't done that many jumps. So, a quick how-to.
Power plant capacity exceeded.
What is that? Do I have 2 AFMUs on here? I didn't know I had 2. Okay, yeah, no, that one's not there. No! Repair it. Duh.
Module repaired. Power plant capacity exceeded. Frameshift drive charging. System scan complete. Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, fuel scooping. System scan complete. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Frameshift drive charging. Fuel scooping. Warning. Temperature critical. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, 4. Frameshift drive charging. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Surface scanned by 50%. Surface scan complete. Orbital flight engaged.